Hello and welcome to Connections Forum. It is a live broadcast show on YouTube, hosted by Heidi Hornline and Margarita Cristalotis, which is me. We interview and bring experts, coaches, authors, healers, therapists, and entrepreneurs into the public light on YouTube for them to share their gift and what they offer to their audience. You can see some of us over 100 episodes since 2013 on Hangout on connection.com. And we are soon launching our doneforyouinterviews.com soon. Our commitment is to feature you as an authority on your topic in an intimate interview where you can show your audience the value of your offerings. These interview videos become valuable tools for you and your own marketing. We are assist you to overcome camera shyness and find your authentic voice, how to present your message, and with technical issues to manage live appearance with ease. Our topic for today is Limitless Joy, a conversation with Joy Nelson. But first about me, I am Margarita Cristalotis, a healing catalyst for women burdened by stress and pain. And my website is thecrystallotus.com. And then I turn it over to Heidi.
Yeah, hello, I'm Heidi Hörnlein, and I'm first of all an Hangout show host or YouTube show host with Margarita and with my husband, and we are working on integral wisdom. And we are preparing a new show in the Wisdom Factory, which will start in November and will be about a new way of aging, conscious aging, because aging is something everybody does from birth on. So you can go to thewisdomfactory.net to get more information. And now to you, Joy. Limitless joy with you, and it is a wonderful topic. I see that you have a lot of background. You are a blogger and you are how do you say, a coach, not a therapist, or are you a therapist too? You might say it afterwards. You're very much interested in holistic health, and this is what combines us quite a bit, also with Margarita, and wellness, and how we can reach our expression in this world. So I would like to first thank you that you come to be with us and hand over to you to present yourself a little bit better.
Well, as you said, my name is Joy Nelson. I became a hypnotherapist in 2006. Since that time, I've worked with thousands of people over the years to help them transform their intimate lives and relationships. And so along that journey, I learned so much about people, introduction, relaxation, helping people find a meditation that will work for them throughout their day to bring into a calmer space. And as I ended up becoming a blogger, sort of now that is my main hat that I wear, is blogging, and I still do some coaching, but I'm not doing as much coaching recently. I'm focusing on writing.
Okay, thank you very much. So from negative to positive, I heard you say in one of your articles. Is it part of your blogging? What are you blogging about mainly? What are you most attracted to in this period of your life?
Well, in this period of my life, I think I'm more attracted to empowering people to find the one thing inside themselves that they are deeply and truly, and then at the same time learning how to get energetic support from the universe to pursue that path full time, rather than maybe waking up in the morning and doing a job that they dislike. So then coming home and trying to fit in this passion of theirs that they have that feeds their soul. So rather than doing that, trying to help them live the life that they love. So it's kind of like my tagline is stop dreaming, And I talk quite a bit about like a holistic life that also um, gives you time freedom to do the things that you love. That's kind of what I'm passionate about right now, inspiring people basically to live their highest path.
So somebody who is unhappy with their profession or with their relationships or with their life altogether, they would come to you and would ask you how, what would they ask you?
So many questions. It's, throughout the years, I think I have heard some of the world's darkest secrets and the most exciting information about them. So I think one of the things that I provide is a very safe space to communicate. So if somebody's struggling with any area of their life, really, they can kind of unload that and vent in a safe, sacred space that's 100% confidential. And then together, come up with a plan for them. So one of the first steps is to overcome limiting beliefs that they have in their life or specifically in their subconscious mind that's keeping them from moving forward into whatever path it is that they want to pursue. And so the first step is overcoming those blocks and limiting beliefs, and then somehow when they come to that point where they are no longer held back in the past, where they're focusing on moving forward, are clear to them what it is that they want to do. And they can feel it more fully without questioning themselves, let go of the fear so that they can become truly limitless.
Yeah, thank you that you named the limitless part because I'm curious what you understand with that and also how you guide people to go to this limitless joy or limitless possibility.
Yes, well, that's a very new venture for me because I think, I originally started this blog. I got a whole bunch of traffic. Everybody was reading my blog. It was quite interesting. I didn't have faith in myself as a writer yet or a blogger. I had very few tech skills. So over the years, I taught myself how to do all of these wonderful things that you can do online. And because I had all this traffic and all these people and all this interest, I zoned in. And so I became a relationship coach almost by default because that was what my audience needed from me. And so then the next phase that was the last few years was Fearless with Joy, really trying to tap into myself and hear my own voice and understand why I was choosing this path for everybody else, like being a mother. I do that in obviously my mothering, but that's kind of part of being a mother. But when you're to the world and you're offering these treasures that you have inside, if you are only offering what people want from you and not your deepest, powerful, most empowered treasures that you have, then you're not being true to yourself. So then you're not even able to do wonderful work with people, but it's not maybe the highest path that you could take. So now the next phase is limitless and realizing I can go down any path. I can choose this path for myself. And then through doing that and sharing that journey and sharing the light of that journey, I can inspire hopefully others to do the same thing for themselves and live limitless.
I have a question there, Joy. How did you actually start it in the very beginning to actually be interested to be a coach or in this healing area?
Mm. In 2002, I think it was, I was sitting at a potluck dinner with some very good friends, and I was told that somebody was going to be there who was a hypnotherapist, and I had never met a hypnotherapist before. Intrigued. So his name is Scott Evans, and he has a practice in Knoxville, Iowa, actually. And so I asked him about a particular challenge that my daughter was dealing with. And in about 15 minutes, instead of telling me how to deal with it, he just kind of guided me on this beautiful journey. 15 minutes, I felt transformed, not immediately, but the ripple effect from this was just spectacular. And I was so inspired by that that I left it for a little while. My children were young. And then in 2006, I went to the Island School of Hypnosis. My teacher, Deborah Maybe, who is a phenomenal woman. She's a hypnotherapist and a teacher. She inspired me to actually begin a practice. And so I started off as a hypnotherapist, but very directive. And I enjoy drawing out of a person their own power, their own information, and then just kind of helping them bring that back into themselves and working with the subconscious mind to accept what it is that they've learned about themselves. So that was kind of the beginning of that path.
Well, it's kind of the same thing I've done too. So I'm also a hypnotherapist. So what kind of what is it that attracts you to a certain client?
That is very interesting because I have a very extensive questionnaire that I send out to my clients. And sometimes I think right away they can feel a little bit overwhelmed. It's very personal. It's a very intimate, they have to expose a lot of themselves and be very transparent really in filling out my intake form. But part of the reason is because we have to have trust. So, if they drop into themselves and they feel that and they feel connected with me and they fill out this intake form that's extensive and personal, then I know that they're really committed to seeing this through, to doing the work. It's fun work. It's really enjoyable and exciting and transformational, but it's still something that you have to put your focus on. So I think more than anything, it doesn't matter what challenge the person has, what goals they have, what intentions they have for themselves. It's more about, do they really want this for themselves right now? Am I the right person to work with them? Are they going to be able to trust me? Do we resonate with each other? Because if we have a connection and trust and we resonate with each other, then we're going to be more successful, which is, of course, I want people to actually accomplish whatever it is that they set out to accomplish.
So you said you had a lot of clients already since that time.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel is their biggest accomplishment?
I think being truthful with themselves, because sometimes let's say they're in a job or a career path, even more so than just a 9-to-5 job, but something like they're a lawyer or a doctor or something substantial that they do in life, that they've worked very hard to get to that point, yet they're feeling really dissatisfied inside. Or same thing maybe with a relationship that has, they've been 20 years together and they have children. People often then want to change that path. And sometimes that is what needs to happen. But sometimes they really just need to adapt what they're already doing and build on that foundation rather than start all over again. So 20 years together and married and kids, and maybe the spark went away. I hear the same thing quite often. And they don't make time for each other, and maybe they don't communicate as well. And so finding the techniques for them, the connection techniques for them that will help them potentially at least explore on a deep level, open up this relationship into the relationship of their dreams, or whether they can maybe shift their career path slightly to make it more enjoyable for them, or even utilize those same skills and take them and do something that feeds their soul on a deeper level, but without completely starting over.
That's so valuable for humanity to wake up to their own consciousness and at least getting rid of fears. It's like, do you go into the deeper consciousness, or do you develop more relationship situations?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I see it when somebody first comes to me, they're answering from their conscious mind. They're telling a story about themselves that they understand from years of developing this story that they tell themselves and they tell other people about who they are. And so at first, I like to think of it, it was my teacher, Deborah Mabey, who discussed this. You know, she talks about like this elastic band. So when we first come to the conscious mind and we're trying to go down deeper, it's like, whoop, and we dip down, but we're still, critical thinking is in place, and you know, we're dipping down, and then eventually it's very exciting when you see them just kind of go, and then they have so much more information available to themselves because they're working with the deepest parts of their consciousness, and they're creating new neural pathways to self-discoveries and healing and transformation, you know, whatever it is that they're focusing on. It's quite an amazing journey, really.
This brings me to ask you what I wanted to ask already before, and then Margarita took it up. It's good. About the tools. What are you using? You said you do hypnotherapy. Is it the only way, or do you have other ways? Because I can relate very much. This morning I had a client, and it is so hard to get out of the mind, you know, of the thinking mind from the normal consciousness. Then she, as the band, you said, she dips down a little bit and goes up again. So I really would like to know a little bit more how you would do that.
Yeah. You know, I think if I had to name the most important thing that I provide for somebody, it is the combination of safe space, relaxation, and self-reflection. So what tools do I use? For me to start listing off the different workshops I've taken, I love to learn. So I have, you know, taken Reiki classes and massage classes and studied all kinds of different alternative therapies, but it's like that I use. So one of the first things that I do is I'll have somebody, I have a diagram with a tree in the top and then the roots of the tree in the bottom. And we look at their childhood and their youth and sort of their younger years all in the bottom, and try to guide them towards, you know, some people will all put very negative things or all positive things. Balance that, you know, what things happened in your childhood, different events, thinking about important relationships and authority figures that you had. And then we kind of understand the foundation. And then I have them actually bring some of the information up. So things that they haven't dealt with yet goes up into the tree, kind of like little leaves all over the place. And we start to learn, you know, I still feel really shy, though I want to be a public speaker. You know, I still have issues with my mother, but I'm working on forgiveness. Like we learn so much about the person. So it's like, I guess soul mapping. I don't know if I've used that word before, but it's kind of what came to mind right now. Just mapping the soul, mapping the mind to see a very good picture of now we understand where you are. So then at this point, what is your intention for yourself? And people will start to say goals. And I say, drop down into my intention is, and it's something very subtle, you know, it depends on what they're working with, but, you know, to break through these blocks so that I can, you know, become a writer, or, you know, any number of things that might be very scary. And especially if something is risky, you know, especially say a couple is working on their relationship and they have to now go into deep communication with each other. That can be a very frightening thing for them to do, especially if there's secrets that have been held back. So really just finding a way to get them to push through their feeling.
I have written a little tree here. Does that illustrate what you're doing?
Yes, yes, it does. And I'll put even a few more branches, so there's a lot, you know, and they kind of do it like a mind map, but it's the representation of the tree of life. So I might even guide them into a space where they're actually interacting with their tree of life. You know, walk up and give it a hug, and, you know, water your tree of life, and, you know, tell your tree of life that it's healthy and strong and vibrant.
And what I heard you saying, that you're an artist, you are creative. in when you are doing the sessions, no? That
Yeah.
you choose what you feel, it's right. And that needs a deep connection with yourself. So my next question is, what did you do to yourself to get into this deep connection?
That was a bit of a journey. I started with a bit of a rocky start, some traumatic experiences, some very deep losses in my childhood, and through abusive relationships. So I think that I was sort of left as this shell of a person who was a pleaser. And so I went out in the world and I tried to figure out how I can make everybody around me happy. At some point, I was very empty. I had all my children, and I had a day where my husband came home and I said, I'm having an emotional breakdown. And he says, you look very calm for someone having emotional breakdown. I said, no, I'm on the brink of it, I guess. I'm standing on this cliff and I'm either going to fall or I'm going to fly. But I need some support if I'm going to fly instead of fall. And I need to find a way to fill myself back up. So I did painting, expression to get things out of my soul. I wrote a lot of my stories, though I haven't published them. I chose not to. Some very personal things that just needed to get out of me, if that makes sense. You write it down and you kind of. I did a lot of ceremonial type healing for people who I've lost, going and kind of setting them free at the ocean. And actually, my cousin came and just brought this. My aunt, who committed suicide in 2002, this is actually a glass pendant with some of her ashes mixed into it, created by a glass blower. So things like this, she was a yoga teacher and a physiotherapist and an acupuncturist, a wonderful woman who I connected deeply with as a mentor. And so it's kind of interesting to have this little representation of her, this energetic connection. So actually I do use pendants quite a bit. This is one that I used. My sister gave me this crystal here when I was facing a cancer scare, so little tools that seem so insignificant, but are so big to me. And I mean, recently I moved from British Columbia to I was in a very connected small community on Salt Spring Island in British Columbia. And it was very easy to wake up each morning and, go to a song circle, teach ecstatic dance, go to yoga, have a coffee with my sister. Like, life was very, very, very simple. The oceans, the mountains, the beauty. And it's been very interesting moving to the Midwest and not having those same connections, and not having that community forces me to really deal with myself. And it's a little bit more work to wake up and feel empowered. But I think if people can find those tools that seem small to other people but are really big to them, they can transform through that. They can wake up and make a choice about how this day is going to be. And writing, I think my biggest tool is probably writing, honestly. It's something I'm embracing even more about myself recently too, so that's fun.
Good. And I would like to have a little bit, let's say, a diabolic question. Why should people do that? Why can't they just stay as they are? People, I mean, why would we want to wake up? What is the benefit of it? Because we know that everybody would like to do the work we are doing, So maybe there are people still saying, "Oh no, why should I do that? I'm fine. I have a house, I have a garden, I have whatever, and why should I do all this stuff?" So, out of your perspective, what is the big, big, big benefit doing this work and going through it? Because it is not easy. We have to say it's not easy. It's not overnight. So switch the button and then it comes. But it's some value in it. And what is it for you?
I think the biggest thing is because you need to remember that you are worth it. You are worthy of love, unconditional love. Correct? You are worthy of abundance. You are worthy of healing and transformation, and you are worthy of finding that for you to live your highest path. And when I say highest path, I mean, I have bartended in the past. You know, when I first came to the US and I just got my work permit and I had no references here, I was a bartender for 2 months. And I could choose to do. I'm actually very good at it. I can serve people very well. People enjoy speaking to me. I actually got a juicer as a tip when I was, somebody literally gave me their juicer as a tip when I was bartending. Said, you'll use this. I never did, you know. There was enjoyable experiences, but reality in this dark, dimly lit place, serving alcohol versus stepping into my studio, lighting my candle, you know, dinging my dong, like having the energy around me to support me in my highest path, and then having somebody step into that space with me and dig deep into themselves and transform themselves to reach their higher path. It's a much better use of the gift that I've been given, really, you know. And I say that something, every person in this world has some gift that is special, that is unique to them. And if they do the work and they transform themselves and let go of limiting beliefs, they can share that gift with the world. And isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, this is probably what you mean with limitless joy, no? Which comes out of
Mm-hmm.
that when we really are connected with ourselves and with our purpose in life and our higher self. As Margarita name said, we have all a little bit different terminology, but I think at the end we intend all the same. To
Mm-hmm.
be in
Yes.
connection with the universe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wonderful. And
Definitely.
I think we all three agree that this is worthwhile, all the efforts, and not to be always, sort of bored of life, sitting television and getting upset if something happens, or then drink too much beer or too much something for to come over the day. This is
Mm-hmm.
also life, but it's so limited. And
It
I
is.
think what you said before, we have a birthright as humans
Mm-hmm.
to
Yes.
to be more. But we have the right, but it doesn't mean that it is given automatically. We have at least
Mm-hmm.
to collaborate, no? And it's
Mm-hmm.
wonderful how you offer that to people. Would you like to share a little bit how they can reach you, where your blog is and things like that?
Well, yes, actually, the main blog that I'm working on developing, which is not launched yet, is laptopdiva.com. So the word laptop and diva. And the reason that I chose this is because it's just wide open. It's me and my laptop. I can be outdoors, I can be traveling, I can be at home with my children in the evening. I can be anywhere doing this, and I can really, that title, I can talk about whatever it is that I feel, you know, whatever I'm thinking about. And so my hope is that I can help other people, you know, gain the financial freedom that they need to support their path. Because I think in the path I had a limiting belief around money, and you know, it felt like something that I wanted to push away. But I realized if you're sitting in survival mode and you're struggling to make ends meet and you're living paycheck to paycheck, you know, it's very hard to share your gifts. It's very challenging to step up and step into the beauty of you, because you're constantly stressed and trying to survive versus thrive. So it's transforming from striving to thriving, really. And you know, the Limitless with Joy is where my practitioner site will be, that I'm developing, because I am rebranding and sort of refocusing right now. But I think that the best place for people in the next day, it'll be launched here, is laptopdiva.com, where I'm just going to share this journey with everybody.
Thank you very much. And
Mm-hmm.
we will talk when you have launched all your new activity. We will have another talk and
Sure.
go a little bit deeper in it. Margarita,
Mm-hmm.
sort of last word for all of us?
Yes. So The takeaway for me here is that I have a soul sister who do this most similar thing like myself, and I would like to collaborate with you, Joy, if you like it. And what stood out for you was that you bring your clients into a relaxed state, and asking this questionnaire in the beginning, that you actually sort out which one of these people who attracts to you are willing to heal and repair themselves and become uh, happier, and actually, uh, you know, hug their own tree and become worthy, right?
Yes.
This is the main thing, because if people, or if practitioners all over the world have this mindset, the consciousness of the population of all the world becomes increased, and it needs just some short percentages of people that are conscious and actually have compassion for many masses of people to ignite it. It's like the shining goddess or knight. There's men healers too, right? That goes out from that way of compassion. It has nothing to do with money. It has to do with the environment and the frequency that we live in here, and that is so important. And I also appreciate that you are one of those people who can do that. I can feel it. I get goosebumps when you talk. And so it would be a very great pleasure for us to do maybe something else, like recording in a media that is less demanding on the sound and the delivery. So we could discuss that later maybe. So thank you so very much for actually being on this show. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I would like to ask you, what is your main takeaway from this half hour? You just talked freely about whatever questions we could figure out.
Yeah, I would say my takeaway is that it's I think that there is a huge shift right now towards different healers from around the world who come from maybe an alternative approach, connecting and bringing a level of professionalism to their work. Bring this message to larger group of people. If you, for instance, you guys, it's lovely, you ladies, reaching the whole world. Potentially anybody in the world who has an internet connection, can access your work, and I think that's phenomenal. It's great that you put the effort into the world. So thank you for your contribution.
Thank you. And for me, it's just amazing to see how many serious people are working to raise consciousness in the world and to go to the limitless joy. I mean, we want to go there, and I think we can go there, and it's not easy, but the more we are, as you said, Margarita, before, when we succeed to collaborate, then we will be much stronger and we will reach more. And this is really my personal hope, by doing what we are doing here with Margarita or my husband, to ignite collaboration in whatever sense it is, but to spread out this energy. And as you said, it is developing this energy of change. It's everywhere. And so do everything. And me personally, I did all this personal development stuff too, but it came to the point where I said, I don't want it anymore only for me. I wanted, by my work, being able to be a conduit for other people. And I hear you say the same thing, and Margarita the same thing. And as Margarita said at the beginning, we need to be a certain amount of people doing this, and then the shift can happen. And so thank you that you are another one, so that we are doing this together. Thank you very much. And with that,
Thank you.
bye-bye for today.